Hi Year 6 and welcome to Monday's reading lesson. This week we've decided to do another non-fiction text because that means that we can wait to do our fiction, our class book, when we are all back together next week. So this time next week we'll all be back in school, we'll all be back together and we can find out what our new class book is and we can start reading that then, and we'll do that for reading next week. So we've got another cracking non-fiction book. Last week's was all about science and to complement our science topic, and this week's is all about geography and goes alongside our UK topic. So let's recap from reading last week. What is the intention of non-fiction? And remember, that word intention means what are they trying to do with non-fiction? Pause and come back. So remember, the intention of non-fiction in general is to teach somebody something, to explain something, or to tell them information which is true, and you should be learning something. So last week we learned about the body, and this week we're going to learn about places, about geography. Okay, so this book, which is called Maps of the United Kingdom, obviously focuses around the places in the United Kingdom. So let's recap our geography learning next. Can you remember, pause the video and so you can write them down. Can you remember the countries of the UK? And can you remember any of the counties of the UK, the even smaller parts? Okay, so the countries, we've got England as the biggest one, Scotland up the top of England, and Wales to the west. And then the separate country here is Ireland. Remember, we've got the Republic of Ireland, which is not a part of the UK. And then we've got the Northern Ireland, the top part, which is a part of the UK. So those are your four countries. And then well done if you remembered any of the counties of the UK. We'll have a look at some on the next slide. So there's, you had this map as an attachment on your geography lesson last week. It shows all of the English counties. So you might have printed that off or you might have used that last week in geography. Now this book goes through all of the different counties of England, but also of Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, and does an absolutely beautiful double page spread, just like these two examples here. For each county, or some of them merge a couple of counties. So I've put Lancashire and Norfolk there as examples, and each page for each county, it gives you information about where in the UK it can be found, any notable landmarks, so kind of famous places where you would visit, and any famous people who were born there. So that you can find that for all of the different counties, and we're going to focus on just one page, one double page spread of this book for this week's reading. So the page we're going to look at is Bristol, Somerset and Wiltshire, and the reason for that should be quite obvious because we are living in Bristol. So you should have been able to get the page from the website. I will get the page, show you the page in the book here. Oh, it's a huge book. So it's very, very large. Now, you might have been able to print it off, or otherwise you can just use the screen, get it up on the screen, okay? It's probably too small here, but download the PDF of it so that you'll be able to read it, okay? So we're going to learn all about Bristol, Somerset and Wiltshire today and for the rest of the week. So I am going to read this starter, this introduction in the white box with you and to you, and we can kind of talk about that a little bit, and then your job for the rest of the lesson is to go off by yourself and read the rest of the page and make some notes so that you can use those tomorrow when we start to answer some questions about the different pages on this particular map. So I will read this and you can follow along. Bristol, Somerset and Wiltshire go back in time to Bronze Age Britain. Stonehenge in Wiltshire is a famous ancient monument and, along with the stone circles at Avebury, a World Heritage Site. Okay, so that's telling us about Stonehenge, which we probably all know about, and we did have a picture of on our landmark cards in geography last week. And an ancient monument, so it's really old, and monument means something that is special, something that people use to celebrate something. And this is in the county of Wiltshire, remember. So the county town of Wiltshire is historic Salisbury, and one of Wiltshire's top attractions is Longleat Safari Park. So you might have been to Longleat Safari Park, or you might have been to another safari park. So a place where you can usually stay in your car and travel around and see lots of different animals, as if they were in the wild, but they live in the safari park. So that's Wiltshire. Bath in Somerset is also a World Heritage Site, while the county's other city, Wells, is one of the smallest in the UK. Okay, so we're talking about the county of Somerset there, and it's talked about 2 cities. Now, what makes a city? A place is a city rather than a town if it has a cathedral. So that means that Bath has a cathedral and Wells has a cathedral. And some of you might have been to Wells, and some of you have probably been to visit Bath. Somerset has a national park, Exmoor, and seaside resorts such as Weston-super-Mare. And some of you might have been to the beach at Weston-super-Mare as well. So Weston-super-Mare is in Somerset. Glastonbury Festival is the biggest event, and Cheddar Gorge is a fantastic day out. So that's Wiltshire and that's Somerset. And again, all of these things are close by, so you may have visited, you may recognise them. Bristol is unusual in being a city and a county. So city, remember, it means it's got a cathedral, and Bristol is its own county. So it's not in another county, there's a county of Bristol. One of its landmarks is the Clifton Suspension Bridge, the site of the first modern bungee jump. And the city hosts Europe's biggest hot air balloon festival. Okay, so 2 things mentioned there about Bristol: the Clifton Suspension Bridge, which you might have been to, and the biggest hot air balloon festival, the Balloon Fiesta, which you also might have been to in years before these funny COVID years. So your job now is to read through the rest of it. You can either annotate on it, but actually today, because there's loads of information on there and there's loads of kind of colour and pictures on there, I would probably read this and have a separate piece of paper where I can make notes. And I might split it into Somerset and Wiltshire and Bristol and make notes underneath there, because it might be useful for later in the week. So however you do it, however you make your notes, keep them safe, and join tomorrow's video lesson. Thanks for joining today. See you tomorrow.